I got a kind of a follow-on of a mix of things that have been brought up here. Obviously, the Democrats tried to demonize you. According to Alinsky's rules for radicals, rule number 12, isolate, personalize, demonize. Ed Nail wrote, a registered Democrat who writes for me at Granite Rock, put up a great post talking about that. Steve pointed out that every Democrat said, we're running against the Bill OBrien agenda, and yet they got thrown out. The personalization didn't work for the Democrats, didn't work for those wanting to maintain power. But again, going back to what Jane said, you have a number of Republicans who are basically get me away from the mud type Republicans who are very loath to do that. What do you say about some of these Republicans that have fallen for the Kool-Aid, and that's my word, not yours, of believing in what the Alinsky publicity has done? They've done it to they tried to do it to Granite Rock until we said, no, we're not taking it. You're a bully, we're punching you in the nose. Mm-hmm. And then they left us alone. You can't do that. But what do you tell Republicans? Why are you falling for this Democrat PR?
Yeah, I mean,
really does bother
it's a message that has many aspects to it. People who know me, you point out that, that's not the way we were, and you know that. You point out how the institution runs. The members are elected by someone other than the speaker. They are paid $100 a year. The only way a speaker can be truly effective, and the only way I was effective, is because I cared, and I would talk to them, and I would try to persuade them. And I think to the Democrats who had never seen that in a Republican speaker before, it looked so different. They assumed it was a Republican speaker acting like they usually act, which is threatening to primary people and using all the union money they have to choose who candidates and unchoose candidates, if I can put it that way. They assumed that was that kind of bullying going on. In the end, you make the case, as I'm trying to make the case, that we can decide whether or not we can have conservative leaders knowing that they will be attacked and we won't allow them to be run out of public life. That's their choice. The voters of my district have been pretty consistent in working past that. They understand who I am. I've been, run school boards there. This is my 5th term and coming up in the state legislature. They gave me a great vote. They understand that there's no reality behind that. And hopefully my colleagues will understand there's no reality behind that. Moreover, you point out what we were just talking about, which is that it's not working for them. In the worst rhetoric that I've ever heard, in which they were trying to make out that I was, actually they did portray me as Adolf Hitler. I was going to say the worst person except for Adolf Hitler, but they had me as Adolf Hitler. Nonetheless, we outperformed the Republican Senate candidates, the gubernatorial candidates. We outperformed the presidential candidate as a group. And so it didn't have an effect. Now certainly, among those who aren't as conservative as we are in the party, they will latch on to whatever narrative they can, and they think that's a powerful narrative, and they're latching on it in this speaker's race, saying that we ought to oppose this guy as much too radical and cost us an election. What will cost us not just an election, but will cost us the future of the Republican Party is if we walk away from who we are as Republicans. That will cost us. What will cost us if we have a true conservative leader come forward, because there'll be somebody else that will be conservative and effective in the future, and if the message we give that person is don't be too conservative, don't be too effective, because when the Democrats go right after you, we're going to join with them and run you right out of public life. If that's our choice, then we're going to be diminished as a party, and our state will not be what it is now, which is something unique in the Northeast. A conservative state, run in the past at least, on much more free market principles.
Croc TV.